Well, hello to everyone and happy weekend. We do have some interesting things to discuss on the channel tonight. Well, interesting if you're into financial law. Something we have not approached on the channel yet, well, because it was mostly community speculation up to this point, it was finally addressed by Shane this morning. This is Earth2 in the know, and let's get into it. So there's been a news story that we wanted to approach, but without direct answers, we couldn't speculate and risk spreading bad information. So we're going to talk about that, as well as look at a fun event that's going on inside of the pirate community happening this weekend. Before we do that, though, we want to thank all of our regular viewers for coming back and checking out the content. You guys are true MVPs. We also want to remind everyone that tomorrow morning is the cutoff to enter to win the Cosmic Eternal Crusader. You can do that by checking out the midweek market report, and then the rules are in the video on how to enter. So what is it that's been like a giant elephant in the room to us lately that we just didn't have enough information to report on? And believe us, we really wanted to dive into this. Well, obviously, it's the suspension of payouts, withdrawals, and what's going on behind the scenes. It's been a huge topic. Everybody's been talking about it. We don't speculate on this channel. We don't what if. We just strictly report the facts. So now we have some facts directly from the man himself, and we can talk about it. Now, unless you've been oblivious to the current ongoings of Earth2, you have no doubt heard that the payouts have been temporarily suspended. There's been a lot of whispers in the community, and some of it even made accusations of foul play with absolutely zero proof. We are here tonight to set the record straight and get to the bottom of this, directly from Shane. Let's take a look at what he said on Discord. Hi guys, just a quick courtesy heads up that we just processed 426,000 essence and withdrawals that got in ahead of the weekend. The team finished the review process a couple of hours ago, so there are around 4 new withdrawals submitted after they finished, and these will be part of the next Monday's batch. I also want to confirm that to date, not one single essence withdrawal has been rejected or even held back for further review. And that's the power of blockchain, baby. Understandably, not everyone knows the ins and outs of the global financial system. But for those who talk about receiving fiat and sending fiat to be the same thing, i.e. you can take a payment but cannot send it, I need to be clear that these are two very different and separate systems. You don't need to believe me, just try setting up a business to do this and see what happens when you start needing to send millions, or even tens of thousands of dollars to people all over the world. In regards to the fiat withdrawals, I completely understand people's frustration and once again apologize on behalf of Earth2 for the holdup. I need to be careful about what I mention publicly and what is mentioned in support correspondence, as it could damage our existing relationships, so please understand this. I also know it's impossible for some people to read every single message in Discord, but there are a few comments from a couple of players in here over the past 48 hours who seem to be up to date on a few things that are happening in the industry. Frameworks, regulation, disputes, millions of bank accounts being affected, etc, etc. It might be worth reading. Well, we're gonna check it out together. In addition to these events that are out of our control, officially launching the token does not help. Our partners are also inundated dealing with customers like us right now due to such recent events, regulation, and so forth. I know it's frustrating, but please take time to carefully read this message and try to understand the situation. We do appreciate your patience. To provide some general guidelines and implies don't hold me to the date, things are out of our control that may change this, but they expect an update sometime in the first half of July. Meanwhile, we are also looking at alternative solutions. Player trading is a huge part of our platform, so whether it's land, jewels, skins, side droids, one way or another, for the long term we will be pursuing solutions that will allow players to trade and experience the smoothest withdrawal process possible. On the bright side, our token is finally launched at a relatively good time. I would say give it some space to trade and settle. Development of the Earth2 platform is, as always, progressing. We have a number of new members who have joined the team over the past 6 weeks who are making a positive impact, which is good for everybody long term. He then went on to say, "Thank you for reading, and I hope you all have a safe and enjoyable weekend." The channel went looking for answers when it came to what exact regulations the team could be facing, so that we could then in return bring you those answers and give you as much info as possible. Of course, paying attention to some of the chats, you learn to spot who seems to be confident in their answers and has probably been paying attention to what's going on. For us, that was the user TPG Ltd on Discord. We decided to ask for some pushes in the right direction. As being American, this is all foreign information to us, and they did not disappoint. What a wealth of knowledge. This is a direct quote from that user. In 2023, the European Union set out to protect consumers who participate in crypto markets and put together a legal framework as a law for crypto assets. These have been rolled out with significant milestones on June 30th, 2024 and December in 2024. This document can be referenced by easily searching EU 2023/1114. This document is very detailed and it reads like a law manual, so I figured we'll just cover the key points. It opens with talking about assets reference tokens and e-money tokens. So asset reference tokens, they must invest reserve assets in a secure, low-risk asset to protect holders against value decreases. AKA, pump and dump. Holders should have a permanent right of redemption. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. E-money tokens should be treated similarly to electronic money, and issuers must be authorized as credit institutions or electronic money institutions. Holders have a right at redemption at par value. Alright, here's something we got to talk about because, I mean, this is what everything is revolving around when it comes to the suspension of payouts and everything. It's regulatory requirements. Issuers must draw up and publish a detailed crypto asset white paper containing information about the issuer, the crypto asset, and the associated risks. More stringent requirements apply to significant asset reference tokens and e-money tokens based on their potential impact on financial stability and monetary policy. This was definitely written by a bunch of lawyers. The next thing we're going to talk about is consumer protection and transparency. Issuers must provide complete, fair, clear, and not misleading information to holders. Ongoing disclosure obligations include the value and composition of reserve assets and significant events impacting the token's value. The document also touches on market oversight and supervision. This simply states that competent authorities in each member state are responsible for overseeing compliance within the regulation. The European Central Bank and other relevant authorities play a crucial role in assessing the impact of significant asset reference tokens on monetary policy and financial stability. Jumping right into the prohibition of interest. Issuers of asset reference tokens and e-money tokens are prohibited from granting interest related to the length of time that tokens are held. I mean, that's kind of what we were trying to get away from to begin with, was being the banks. Now let's talk operational requirements. Issuers must maintain segregated pools of reserve assets for each token and conduct regular independent audits. Detailed policies on the issuance, redemption, and stabilization mechanics of tokens are required. Not only did our amazing friend provide this amazing insight, but they also referenced how it directly affects E2 as the utility token. Impact on utility tokens. Utility tokens, which are classified separately from assets reference tokens and e-money tokens, are also addressed in the regulation, but with different implications. Definition and scope. Utility tokens are designed to provide access to a specific good or services, and it's not intended to serve as a medium of exchange or a store of value. And of course, there are exemptions and requirements. Offers of utility tokens providing access to existing goods or services or within a limited network of merchants are exempt from some regulatory requirements, such as the need to publish a crypto asset white paper under certain conditions. Exemptions cease if the tokens are intended for trading or exceed certain offer thresholds. It also dabbles a little bit in the consumer protection area. Despite exemptions, utility tokens must still comply with union legislative acts, ensuring consumer protection, such as the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive. And if you want to know more about that, I'm sure you can look it up. I feel like people who write new law policies are the kids in grade school that loved writing their book reports. Let's talk about transparency and disclosure. Issuers of utility tokens must provide clear information on how tokens can be redeemed for goods or services, the rights attached to the tokens, and any potential risks associated with them. Let's talk about market practices. Utility token offers and trading practices are subject to supervision to prevent misleading information and ensure transparency for potential buyers. So in summary, while utility tokens benefit from certain exemptions under the regulation, they are still subject to oversight to ensure consumer protection and market transparency. Makes sense, as it should be, right? That's valid. This regulatory approach aims to foster innovation within the crypto asset sector while maintaining a stable and secure market environment. There was information which we can reference later about stablecoins if you're curious, but we figured we would just jump straight to how it affects the banking system since we're talking payouts. So this is how it impacts payment providers and banks. So for payment providers, the people who process the payments, make everything work. We're going to talk about them first. So the legal entity requirement is that payment service providers must be registered legal entities within the EU and maintain substantial business activities within the region to ensure effective supervision. Consumer protection. So providers must offer transparent and fair information regarding the crypto assets they facilitate, ensuring retail holders understand the characteristics, functions, and risks. Operational standards are payment providers are subject to operational, organizational, and prudential requirements to mitigate risks to investor protection, market integrity, and financial stability. All right, for credit institutions. So banks are authorized under existing EU regulations, Directive 2013-36 EU. They can issue ARTs without additional authorization, but must notify competent authorities and comply with ART-specific requirements, except for authorization, own funds, and shareholder approval processes, which are covered by the existing directives. Who writes this crap? Oh my goodness. Prudential supervision states that banks must comply with stricter or more specific requirements from either the new regulation or the existing directives, ensuring comprehensive oversight and stability. Makes sense. Sorry. Reserve management. Banks issuing ARTs must maintain prudent reserve asset management practices, ensuring that the reserves adequately cover liabilities and are properly segregated from the bank's assets. So they gotta have the money to pay what they say. Overall, these regulations aim to provide a robust framework to ensure financial stability, protect consumers, and support the integrity of financial system while fostering innovation in the crypto asset market. Let's go! Obviously, we also need to look at how it affects transactions with people outside of the EU. Now, obviously, the impacts on countries outside of the EU is something that E2 has to deal with, being one of those countries. The EU regulation on markets in crypto assets, or MiCA for short, not only sets forth a comprehensive framework for the regulation of crypto assets within the EU, but also has significant implications for countries outside of the EU. Wonder why that applies. We're going to find out because here are the key impacts. For global market influence, so the international standards are the regulation that encourages the convergence of international standards for crypto assets through cooperation with global organizations such as the FSB, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, and the Financial Action Task Force. Sounds to me like a whole lot of people who make way too much money. When talking about the benchmark for regulation, they say that MiCA is likely to serve as a model for other jurisdictions looking to develop their own regulatory frameworks for crypto assets, promoting consistency and stability in the global crypto market. When it comes to market access and compliance, and talking about third country firms, non-EU firms wishing to offer crypto asset services within the EU must comply with a MiCA regulations, including obtaining authorization from EU authorities if they solicit or advertise to clients within the EU. They do mention a client initiative rule where it says services provided by third country firms on the exclusive initiative of an EU client do not require authorization under MiCA, but this does not apply if the firm actively solicits business from the EU. When it comes to the cooperation and information exchange, so the cooperation agreement is that EU member states are required to establish cooperation arrangements with supervisory authorities of third countries for the exchange of information and enforcement of obligations under MiCA. Facilitation by ESMA and EBA, the European Securities and Markets Authority, and the European Banking Authority will facilitate and coordinate these cooperation agreements to ensure effective oversight and compliance. So, they're pumping crypto through the banks? Seems like it defeats the purpose. When it comes to regulatory arbitrage, there are prevention measures that say the regulation seeks to prevent regulatory arbitrage by ensuring that non-EU entities providing services to EU residents adhere to comparable standards and do not exploit differences in regulatory regimes. Somebody really loved their dictionary growing up. Check that out. They even found space for an operational and compliance cost. For cost implications, they say that non-EU issuers and service providers will incur costs to comply with MiCA. Oh, no one ever saw that one coming. Including costs related to authorization, reporting, and ongoing regulatory requirements. Wow. These costs might influence the decision of non-EU firms to engage with the EU market. Oh, this should be good. They even put in something here about consumer protection and market integrity. Yeah, because we know the banks thrive on integrity. For transparency and disclosure, non-EU firms must adhere to transparency and disclosure requirements to ensure that EU consumers are well informed about the products and services that they are accessing. This includes publishing white papers and ongoing disclosure of significant events impacting the value of said crypto assets. There are prohibition of certain practices, and MiCA prohibits certain practices such as granting interest on e-money tokens. We talked about that earlier, which non-EU firms must comply with if they wish to operate within the EU. This is pretty evident news that there are truly some new things happening in the world of digital asset regulation that the team may be working with legal on to get up to speed with before they can resume the payouts. We do wish the team luck on this and hope to see it resolved within the suggested possible date quoted, but understand new developments change projections sometimes. So now that we have a little bit better picture of what's happening behind the scenes, we can try to look at it with fresh eyes. Let's go ahead and close that law manual and talk about something fun. So, as you know, the E2 Pirates are a well-known group, and once again they are hosting their annual marble race this Sunday. We caught up with Pirate Senior for a small quote about the event, and let's check out what he said. Arrgh! Join us on June 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern for an exciting marble event hosted by the E2 Pirates. We've organized 10 thrilling races, including special races for Discord boosters and live viewers. This event features the newly unlocked T3 Faro Blanco, the T3 Dragon City, and the exclusive skin Hasatsu Bara Ruby as one of the prizes. We started the marbles to help promote E2 Pirates and figured with the Essence launch and Resource launch, it was the perfect time. He said, what a better way to advertise than through engaging in giveaways, and trust us, that's something we know about here at the channel. He said, instead of just clicking a giveaway bot, they wanted to make it more entertaining. He said that the response was overwhelming, with more people joining and enjoying the races than they even expected. Initially, the races were held without an announcer, but after the positive feedback and the increased interest, Robin stepped up to announce the events, adding much more excitement and entertainment. And if you guys aren't familiar with Robin is, for some reason, you can just easily scroll down to the bottom of my page, direct click the link to his channel. None of this would be possible without the generous donations from Jolly Roger, who provides the majority of the prizes, and Hippoland, who has committed to donating one prize each month. We're also going to throw our hat in the ring and donate a prize as well, so look for our prize next month. He went on to say that the E2 Pirates Bank, dedicated solely to giveaways, also contributes prizes whenever possible. And he did mention that if you do want to support them using the E2 Pirates referral code PIRATE, will definitely help keep those events going. However, it is important to know that there is no obligation to use the code in order to participate in the community or the marble events. Then finishes with, don't miss out on the fun and join us for this exciting event featuring special races, amazing prizes, and their renowned announcer, Robin. So that sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and you might even make some new friends. Look for us there. We're going to try to get some clips. Alright everyone, it is time to pay the bills. We do want to welcome anyone new to the channel and send you out an invite to subscribe. There are weekly giveaways on the channel, and we do almost daily updates. You know, we take a couple nights off every once in a while. Plus, everyone in the community is a great time and sends positive vibes. Well, for the most part. We are going to link the E2 Pirates Discord and the video link to enter this week's contest in the description of the video. We know this was a long video and sometimes pretty boring, but we do appreciate you making it to the end. Check us out tomorrow for the weekend market report. Until then, sadly it's time for us to say goodbye for now, but as always, not for long. And as always, we cannot wait to see you in the Earth2 metaverse, hopefully regulated and protected by the law.